Hey y'all, happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend. Yes. What up, though? I think that's my new saying. We used to say that back in the I think I was writing letters in middle school, maybe saying what up though. But anyways, I like it still. What up though? Anywho, I'm gonna be brief tonight because we got some what we doing tonight? Mm, talk off going on. Okay. So anywho, in this new season, right? I'm speaking on myself. I am definitely trying to do some introspective work. Um, I'm definitely trying to level up in every way, you know. And sometimes you got to do work from the inside out, you know. In this season, a lot of people just focusing on the outside. If that's your bag, jump in it. Me personally, the outside is nice, but I really want to make sure that things going right on the inside. And a lot of us, women in particular, you know, we dressing up the outside to hide the things that's going on in the inside. You know, a lot of insecurities, a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointments, a lot of confusion, not knowing which way to go, a lot of frustration, sick of your family, sick of this, sick of that. Um, and a lot of times we just go shopping. We just go shopping, go spend some money, go do this, go do that, you know, and we don't sit down and really just address what's really happening, what's going on, you know. Whether you're shopping for clothes, whether you're shopping for new bodies, you know, new titties, new booties, whatever it is you're shopping for. Men, new man, whatever, you know, we just go shopping. And really we need to just sit down and get to it, figure out what's going on in that heart and in that mind, you know, what's really happening. What up though, for real. Um, so this message ain't necessarily for everybody, but hey, the shoe fits, then slide it on. Tie it up, lace it up, right? So right now I'm speaking to most of like the alpha females because that's what I am. I'm alpha all day, twice on Sundays, right? So there are a lot of things that come with being an alpha, whether it's male or female. You know, there's a lot of good things come, but there's some bad things come with the alpha title as well. You know, so we are the people that you know, we're gonna out argue you, we're gonna out talk you, talk louder than you, say more things than you try to, over talk you, because we feel that our point and what we saying is law, right? We feel like we stand on what we say to the bus side, to the door, yeah. And we feel like our thoughts and opinions is the end all, right? And a lot of times we wrong. And that's the reality of it. Everybody can be wrong sometimes. No matter how smart, wise, whatever you are. Sometimes you may be wrong about what you have going on, what your judgment or your conversation is in regards to what someone else has going on. And just life in general, you make bad decisions too. That's the reality of it, right? It's just alphas, we know how to make up better excuses for what we have going on, right? We know how to sugarcoat it a little better, right? Yeah, we do. So in this season, I am challenged with myself trying to do, like I say, introspective work and just improve on the areas where I feel that there is definitely a need, you know, of improvement because I want to level up. I want to be a better version of myself, period. Right? So, one area that I feel like alphas have, you know, a very challenging time with is being wrong. Being wrong and then acknowledging that we're wrong. And then doing the work after that. Like you know, either going to that person or to that situation, making corrections, or going to that person saying, hey, I was wrong about that. You know, that take a big person to do that when you an alpha person. Now some people, they can do it easily. It just slides off their tongue. It don't just slide off my tongue like that. Feel me? Like, and that's not, you know, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but it is a bad thing when you have been in the wrong and yet you just refuse to want to acknowledge that you try to put some type of spin on it why you wasn't necessarily wrong. Well, yeah, you was, and that's just an area that I'm really trying to do better in. So I challenge like all of the alphas, and even if you're not an alpha, but you just so stubborn and so headstrong, and like my grandma used to say, hell bent or whatever, that you just don't want to admit when you're wrong, right? And let me say this too. It's a lot of older people who like that. It's a lot. Y'all got parents and grandmamas, granddaddies, daddies, aunties, cousins. Oh, the older generation, they ain't gotta be alpha. They just gotta be older. Some of them jokers, they gonna be wrong to the bus side. They ain't coming to tell you that they were wrong. They not gonna apologize. They not. My mom used to say stuff like, "Oh, that's under the blood. That's under the blood." You hear me? The red blood, like this Tater Port. You hear me? But yeah, it's just sometimes people just have a hard time saying, "Listen, I was wrong about that." Parents, I noticed that too, in particular. With the little Romeo situation, what was going on with his daddy and whatnot. I ain't really trying to get into the celebrity mix, but that was a good example of sometimes, when you're growing up, you notice things that's not quite right. Boom, boom, boom. What have you? You take it to your parents like, yeah, hey, I ain't like X, Y, and Z. Why this was going on. They feel like you ungrateful, you disrespectful, you X, Y, and Z. All because you bring it to them like, hey, I didn't like the way this played out in my life. What can I get some understanding or some clarity why you went right instead of going left, And maybe sometimes it's the way that the kids go to the parents or go to the grandparents or the aunties or the uncles and, they feel it's disrespectful, their approach. But sometimes your approach could be right, but just because they're older, they feel like they're standing on that and whatever they did, that's just what it is. And you just have to accept that. So, and that's not necessarily having anything to do with the alpha personality. Sometimes people just stand on wrong, period. And it's just hard for them to get up off of those words, I was wrong, But the reality is that none of us are right all the time. Even as a child, I have not always been right when it came to my parents or whatever I felt about them. And they definitely was not always right with whatever they said or did in regards to their kids. Nobody's perfect, period. That's the reality of it. So, of course, we're not always going to be right in our relationships and our friendships, things like that. We drop the ball big time on that. Whether we giving advice sometimes we giving wrong advice, right? And whenever you get to the point where you done told that person something wrong, you probably should go back and say, hey, well, listen, I stood on this at that time, but now I feel like this, But like I said, that goes back to, being able to do the work on self and being able to be introspective and look and see, where you're going wrong at. Like I say, I acknowledge that is definitely an area that I have struggled in with being able to see where I'm wrong at because I feel like, hey, I'm wise. I got a little street education. I got a little, academic education. So I know a few things, and that may be true. Yet, that still would not make you right about all of your actions because you got to throw in the emotion aspect of it. That us women, a lot of times we dealing with emotions and we acting out of emotions. And guess what? We go left. We may have the principle of why we're acting like we're acting or why we're saying what we're saying. We may be standing on the right principle, but when we start moving and speaking, we're going left. We're wrong. We should have left that out. We should not have said that. And it's some things that when you start saying and you get into being disrespectful, attacking people's character, especially people that you were once in a relationship with or that genuinely, you had love for, you have love for, that's wrong. That's wrong. And I'll be the first to say I'm definitely guilty of it because listen, I am my mama's child. And listen, it ain't too many things won't come out their mouth whenever the ball get rolling, And that's wrong. That's wrong. My brother, he'll do the same thing. He'll speak out of turn. He'll say some of the most terrible things, you know. Like I said, we are mama kids, you know, and we kind of get that from her, you know. um, just because, you know, you come up under a certain way, you pick up certain things or whatever, you know. But, you know, just as she learned as she got older that it was things, you know, she was wrong about or whatever, we have to get to that same position. So I feel like in life now I'm there where I'm really trying to address the things that, you know, I have been wrong about and be able to woman up and just admit that, hey, you know what, I was wrong on that, you know. So I just, I'm going to throw out that challenge for you all, especially like I say, the alpha females. And men, if you are dealing with a female that she's alpha and you know she's pretty strong-minded, sometimes she's stubborn, you can't tell her nothing, it's okay. She probably is an alpha female, right? So it's safe to say that sometimes she's dead wrong. And sometimes she'll come to that conclusion on her own, but it's hard for her to come back to you and say, hey, I was wrong, I apologize, you know. It take a real humbling to do that, you know, and sometimes we just don't have it in us. We like, yeah, I was wrong, but okay, next, what you doing? You know, like we ain't did no, we just gonna pick up where we left off at, you know, and yeah, that's a no. In this season, we have to be accountable for the things that we are doing, for the things that we are saying. And listen, I am the first person who is guilty of that. So that's why I just wanted to have that conversation, because I know if I am at my age owning up to it, saying, hey, I'm dropping the ball in this area of my life, then chances are it's some women who they have not gotten to this age or stage yet where they're ready to acknowledge it. But don't wait till you get my age, you know. Do the work now on self and look at those areas in which you're going wrong, you know. And if it's people that you need to say, hey, I was wrong, if you can't get that apology out, just admit that you were wrong, you know. Start somewhere. One foot forward, you know. So yeah, y'all enjoy your weekend and be safe, and that's that.